घड़ी से निकालो battery. Welcome to Back in Time with Kunal Kamra. Today I'm going to take you to a time where we had a prime minister who was almost a tyrant. Yeah, authoritative figure. Could clamp down on media, opponents, put them in jail, do anything at any point. I'm talking about Indira Gandhi, India's third prime minister and the first female prime minister to carry the legacy of her father forward, जिसको आज हम Twitter पे nepotism बुलाते हैं. It's interesting for me to take you back in time to the Indira years with someone who had a proximity and a camera and documented all of it from 5 feet of distance. Here we are revisiting Raghu Rai photographing Indira Gandhi from being Nehru's daughter to being India's Indira. Thank you so much, Mr. Rai, for agreeing to do this show. To begin with, I want to take you back to the time where you were photographing Indira Gandhi. And to start with, I just want to ask you a question. What was Indira like?
Actually, she took over as Prime Minister in 67. I joined the Statesman as the chief photographer in 66. So almost at the same time, I started photographing her. And then I discovered here was the lady who carried certain strength and certain culture of Nehru family. And she could also look and control things beyond the normal scene. And that's why you'll find she's sitting right in the middle of the congressman, but her mind spaces calculating something else. Apparently, they say Nehru was a very emotional and loving man, and people misuse that emotion. So she, being Nehru's daughter, she kept herself a little away from that. And that's why now here when she's talking to Sanjay, you can see the expression, the calculations going on in her mind. So she was very sharp in any given situation, and she could be physically sitting there, and yet her mind could be traveling somewhere else. So this was one of the very important aspects of her leadership, which she used as and when she wanted for her political gain.
Correct. She was a good politician, is what you're saying?
She was a good politician, and like winning the Bangladesh war, culturally, she was very well connected with artists, with heritage of India, everything. But in 75, when the judgment, Allahabad High Court judgment went against her election because of Raj Narayan's whatever he did, then she became unnerved. And then it was the beginning of
a different Indira?
A different Indira who was repositioning her thinking and her style of doing things. And then 77, she declared emergency because she knew she was pushed to the wall. 75. And then everything started to change.
What, in your opinion, led to the emergency? And what made you join JP at that time and be a part of that movement after almost spending over 8 years photographing Indira Gandhi? What exactly happened there?
No, you see, I'll tell you. Okay. Now, the thing is that when the judgment of Allahabad High Court went against her, she was supposed to have resigned, but her son, Sanjay, who had by that time come into politics and was hobnobbing with all the important leaders of the time, especially Siddharth Shankar Ray, being a big-time advocate who was part of their cabinet, and few others like Bansi Lal and whatever those people, they suggested that she doesn't have to resign, and we can declare emergency. Now, another important point is the fact that she lost her father in 64, and then suddenly she was made the prime minister, and by this time she felt lonely and no man in the family. And then suddenly Sanjay Gandhi, with the help of Siddharth Shankare and other guys, comes to her rescue. She finds a man in her family who can give her the support she needs. This is a very human, simple response of an individual who is being pushed to the wall and threatened that she has to resign. So the emergency was declared. Now, we were very freedom loving, and those were the years when you could do any story about any minister or about prime minister and nobody could touch you. And those were the years when no journalist, senior journalist, is supposed to be friends with politicians in power or bureaucrats in power, because if you become friends with them, then you cannot do justice to the story that is to be done. It might go against the person, but if you're a friend, then you think twice, shall I write it? Today, they think it's a big deal that we are friends close to this minister or that minister or prime minister. It's not the same journalism anymore.
Correct.
Yeah, it's all, parivar, bigger parivar.
But you did speak about Indira Gandhi lacking a guidance figure after Nehru.
Yeah.
She was predominantly in a male-dominant world.
Yeah.
Were there other leaders in the Congress who were trying to fill a position? Or how did she ever speak to you about being in a male-dominated world?
No. Don't think I was so close to Indira Gandhi.
No,
that me as a young photographer, she will speak to me. No, man.
Correct.
Oh, God. No. I've never been that important. But the fact is that who doesn't want to become the Prime Minister? Bhai Chavan, Jagjivan Ram, many other leaders. And Nehru's daughter gets it. So the jealousies are always there. But she controlled it very well. And then emergency was declared, and she almost threatened everybody who stood against her in a way, not in a very open way, but indirect way, that don't you challenge me. But the press stood against her. She put a few journalists like Kuldeep Nair, who was my editor, he was sent to jail, some other journalist, but very few, and some politician. And the emergency lasted for whatever few months. But what was creditable for her, that she realized this is not the country and the time where we should carry on with the emergency. So she declares elections. Then JP comes in. No, JP actually, he started from Gujarat, Yuva Morcha. They were going against Indira Gandhi. And then he comes to Patna, and there the youth, he gathered the youth together and they started this protest against Indira Gandhi. Because when you're away from Delhi, even during the emergency, you feel a little freer, in Patna or in anywhere else, like in Bombay today. Journalists are writing much more than the other part of the country. So he started this movement and he protested. And then he was lathi charged, and I was the only one sitting with him and in his jeep taking pictures. And when lathi charge happened, I was the only one, and it was published on the front page of the Statesman. And next day, the whole opposition got together and they blamed Congress and Indira Gandhi for doing so. And they said, no, we haven't done it. So they threw the Statesman on their table saying, see this. So JPG was he became very loving with me, that here was a guy who had a proof of it. So, and also the fact was, another important, he was Nehru's contemporary. And here his daughter has dared to insult him like this. This is, personal things also become equally important in political sphere. Like Indira Gandhi wanted somebody, a man in the family, and she got it, and she stood up again. Here, he felt, I am her father's contemporary. How dare she does this to me? So he stood forcefully against her. And the opposition and Y.B. Chavan, Jagjeevan Ram, so many other Congress people left Congress and they joined him. And it started. And then she realizes that it's not going to work for her. And then she declares elections and she loses it badly. And then JP, the people said, "Arey yaar, JP's chosen Morarji Desai as Prime Minister. Things are not working out well. JP should have taken care." Man, it's not a question of one man taking you to deliver everything. Everybody has to be responsible. So JP also, he was ill person and he passed away. Then Janata Dal fell apart into pieces because everybody wanted to become a prime minister at that, several of them. So this is how the game was being played, you know.
But you must have an interesting point of view because you saw all these leaders who were conspiring or opposing Indira Gandhi around her while she was prime minister also. So how was that? What was any leaders where you saw them totally different after some time?
No, I have actually I have a photograph when the split happened in Congress party. Yeah, I think in '67. Jagjeevan Ram and few other important leaders. The Congress session was on, and Indira Gandhi with 5-6 leaders, they stood in a corner on the dais where all the congressmen were sitting. By that time, the day was over. Most people, photographers, journalists left. And I had the habit of instinctively feeling that something could be happening now. And they get up, get together, huddle together. They are planning their move. Indira Gandhi is looking far away and calculating. Those are the pictures I have taken. And in that session, she also cried that I am being treated by my father's party so badly. I took that picture also. And that was the time when she declared Indira I. And their symbol became, I think, hand. So that Indira, and then after the emergency, losing her, I have seen her so nervous, so fearful, going like this. Especially when Sanjay died. My God, you know, I saw her sitting in the car like this and going like this, you know. But then when she came back after Janata Dal fell apart, she became tough. She became ruthless. And she was ready to kill anybody at that time.
Interestingly, after the emergency, Indira Gandhi became this towering leader. And you also have an experience of being around at that time, and you have photographed inside the Golden Temple. You've also photographed Bhindranwale. How was that experience?
No, Bhindranwale was totally different story at that time because Bhindranwale was propped up by Zail Singh, Gyani Zail Singh, the president, because they wanted to counter Akali Dal.
So it was the Indira Gandhi protege only.
But then, you know, you set a devil in motion and then the devil begins to take its own energy, it begins to multiply that devil's energy. And then they brought him to counter Akali Dal. Akali Dal lost it, but then he was becoming stronger and stronger, and Zail Singh sitting in Delhi couldn't do anything about it. And then the situation went out of hand. This is what, even today, this is the pattern. You see, the politicians in power, they think they are the ones who run the show and they are the ones who are controlling every man, every emotion, everywhere. But they tend to forget that when you make a devil, you set him into motion, then that devil begins to multiply his energy by many folds, and it goes out of hands, and then nobody can control it.
Right.
And that then you begin to pay. You see, we talk about Pakistanis saying, oh, we are not doing it, it's fringe element, which is, coming into India or killing, doing the killings. Huh? We are also saying it's not the government, but the fringe element is doing it. Man, fringe element has taken over Pakistan now.
Yeah. But just to revisit that episode, my question is a little specific. When you got a chance to photograph inside the Golden Temple and Bhindranwale was present, what was going on in your mind? Was there any fear? Because you could have almost been killed.
Bhindranwale was a small-time, ordinary, so-called religious person. And this is, again, human psychology, that he is made to sit on a chair where people come and they start putting their energy and their namaskar or their salam into him, then you get charged with that energy. So every day the number of people, his followers, was swelling. And he was becoming bigger and bigger, and then he was, another person. Then you begin to lose control. This is what happens with most leaders. When they lose control over the honest energy of any country, that we should put it into a shape where everyone is looked after and taken care. Then they feel, I am the one calling the shots. So Bhindranwale became, you see, the people will come and throw 2 rupees, find 5 rupees in front of him, those ordinary villagers. So when they'll go away, he'll pick up that money and put it in his pocket. How big is that guy? You tell me.
Correct.
And then maybe the Congress government at that time thought, oh, we made him, we can handle him whenever they want. But that devil that you had unleashed had taken another powerful shape. I used to call him Paji, brother, because he had so many followers and some of the young guys with the guns standing next to him. One night, one guy came to my hotel and he says, listen, whosoever you are, I was working with India Today at that time. He says, don't you call our Sant Bhindranwale ji Paji. He's not your brother. I said, but if he doesn't mind, why do you mind it? He says, no, we don't want you. You know who we are? I said, yes, I know who you are. And they went away. And let me tell you, the last day when he hid inside a Akal Takht, and all of us, so many journalists, photographers, international journalists, we were all parked in 2-3 hotels. Nobody was allowed to go in. And I, through my personal contact, I contacted his right-hand man. He took me inside a Akal Takht, where he was sitting alone. In that dark room, there was just one bulb, one light. He says, "Tu yahan kaise aaya hai?" मैंने कहा, Paji, I am your follower. I have been coming to you every day. He says, what do you want? I said, आपकी एक photo बनानी है. So I took that last picture, but his eyes had anger and fear. And we were there for 5-6 days, nothing was happening. So I got that picture. I thought, chalo, I've got more than anybody else. So I left Amritsar. The next day, army moved in and shot him dead. And but no press photographer, no writer was allowed anywhere near that. And even the picture of damaged Akal Takht, after a few weeks when they opened it to public, I hid my camera in flowers. And I went with 2 friends. One will stand here, the other will stand there, and I'll take quick pictures of damaged Akal Takht. People looking at bullet marks, this, that. And we published another big story in India Today. So, the driving force was that I am a journalist. I'm a responsible journalist. And my job is to capture and reflect what is the truth just now. Through emotions of Indira Gandhi, through fears of Bhindranwale, or manipulated atmosphere in any given situation, I would do that without any fear, without any problem.
That's
But
very-
those were different days and different kind of
I know.
journalism. What is there today?
We'll come to that.
Yeah,
We'll come
yeah.
to that. To end this interview, I can't find a better question than what is your opinion of India right now? What do you think India has come to from Indira to India in 2020?
देखिए, सबसे बड़ी बात तो ये है that the complexion of journalism has changed so drastically. You know, when in 2014 elections were announced, there was time when we would photograph every Congress session. And then in 1991, I left India today, and I said, I am not going to be doing this kind of political stories and this kind of journalism. So in 2014, after maybe 20 years, I decided to go to Congress session before the election, and I went to BJP's session where Modi had taken over the BJP. And we were kept about 60 feet away from the dais. Now, in photography, they say if you're not close enough, your pictures are not good enough. So here we are using big telephotos
Long lenses.
and long lenses and trying to, capture some moments. And in those years, Indira Gandhi years, we used to be 6 feet away. And if any security guy comes in between, we'll say, Indira ji, dekhiye, ye kya karte hain? Today, you dare not talk like this. You are kept 50, 60 feet away behind the ropes. So it's not the same anymore. Also, this has happened because of terrorism, because of the security reasons. The distance has increased. Also, the politicians, the rulers, are not the kind of rulers that they were there, like Nehru and Gandhi, who walked right into the people and, touched their lives and their hands and limbs to give them the feeling that they are there next to you. They are not there next to you anymore.
Thank you so much on that
Thank
note,
you. Yeah,
Mr. Rai.
thank
Thank you
you
so
very
much
much.
for coming.